Okay, so picture this, an AI that doesn't just suggest a line of code here and there. I'm talking about an AI that can write, test, and even deploy entire applications all from a single, simple prompt. Well, this isn't science fiction anymore. A whole new generation of AI coding agents is here, and trust me, it's poised to completely shake up how we build, well, everything.
So, let's get right into it. Here's how we're going to break it all down. First, we'll look at the hard data, the productivity numbers that are making everyone's heads turn. Then, we'll get clear on what these agents actually are. We'll meet the key players out there right now, get the real story on what it's like to use them, the good, the bad, and the ugly. And finally, we'll tackle that million-dollar question. Is human coding on its way out?
All right, so why all the buzz? Why is this blowing up right now? Well, it all kicks off with one of the biggest jumps in productivity that software development has maybe ever seen. And this isn't just marketing hype. We've got the receipts. We've got the data.
Just look at this number, 55.8%. I want you to let that sink in for a second. This figure comes from a really important study on developer productivity, and it represents a change so massive, it's making the entire tech industry snap to attention. We're talking about developers with an AI assistant finishing their work more than twice as fast as those without.
And this quote comes directly from that controlled experiment, which used GitHub Copilot. The job was to build an HTTP server. The group with AI, they wrapped it up in about 71 minutes. The group without AI, over 160 minutes. That is a gigantic, undeniable leap in getting things.
So what is this tech exactly? I mean, we've had autocomplete in our code editors for years, right? This is something totally different. It's a huge step up. Let's get a really clear idea of what we mean when we say AI agent.
Okay, so an AI agent is basically a system where you can give it a high-level goal. Something like, hey, build me a to-do list app. And then it figures out the steps to get there on its own. The key word, the most important concept here is autonomy.
And that really is the main difference. It's this shift from simple automation to actual reasoning. A traditional tool might say automatically format your code for you, but an AI agent, it understands what you're trying to do, the intent behind your code. It can suggest whole new features, hunt down and fix bugs that span multiple files, or even refactor your entire project by itself.
All right, so let's check out the current landscape. How is this actually playing out in the real world with real tools? Let's meet the key players and see what makes each of them tick.
Now, this is a really interesting look at how the AI models themselves are evolving. You can see a pretty clear split happening. On one side, you've got these non-reasoning models that are built for speed and efficiency. But on the other side, you have these powerful reasoning models. You could say they think more before they act, sometimes using 10 times the processing power to come up with a better, more thought-out answer.
And these different kinds of models are powering what I'd call three main flavors of agents. First, you've got the assistants that just live right inside the tools you already use every day. Second, you have completely new editors and command line tools that are built from the ground up around AI. And third, you've got the full stack agents that can try to build an entire application from just a single sentence.
And this breakdown shows you the different philosophies at play. You can think of GitHub Copilot as the universal, everyday sidekick. Claude Code is more like the deep thinking specialist you call in when you have a really complex, tangled project. And then there's Cursor, which is like the ultimate power tool. It's super flexible and lets you swap out different AI models to get the job done just right.
Okay, so that's the theory. That's how it's all supposed to work. But what's it actually like to hand over the keys to an AI? Well, the real-world developer experience can be, let's just say it's a bit of a roller coaster.
The quality of what you get can be wildly different. I mean, look at this. On the left, you see a pretty polished, professional-looking app that was generated by one agent. And on the right, a much more basic, functional app from another. The difference in quality is frankly night and day.
When it works, it feels like actual magic. There was this comprehensive review of today's top agents, and one developer said using a tool called Cursor was just 100% joy. It literally felt like having a superpower.
But when it fails, oh man, it is deeply frustrating. That same developer reviewing another agent called Windsurf gave the blunt assessment, "I feel physically ill." That tells you everything you need to know about how bad a bad experience can be.
And look, this isn't just about feelings. The data shows this huge quality gap. That same independent review scored the code that these agents produced on a 25-point scale. The top-tier agents, like Cursor, a near-perfect 24. Others, like Windsurf, got a 13. I mean, the code worked, but it was just missing all the professional touches, the testing, the documentation that you see from the best one.
So all of this incredible progress, but also this wild inconsistency, it all leads us to the biggest question, the one on everybody's mind. With AI improving this fast, are human developers about to be out of a job?
I mean, just look at the pace of improvement here. This chart tracks how well AI can do a really complex coding task, turning plain English into a database query. In just about a year, the top AI score jumped from 40% accuracy all the way up to 77%. It is rapidly closing the gap with the human-level performance of 92%. The speed of this progress is just breathtaking.
This incredible speed has led to some seriously bold predictions. The CEO of Anthropic, that's the company behind the AI model Claude, he thinks we are just months away from a world where AI is writing 90% of all code. 90%!
Okay, but let's bring it back to reality for a second. Right now, even the very best agents still make subtle mistakes. They introduce little bugs. Why? Because they struggle to understand the why behind the code. They can't quite grasp the business goals or what the user actually needs, what some people call the semantic layer. That's the layer of human context and intent. So for now, they absolutely still need a person there to guide them, to catch those errors, and to be the translator between human needs and technical instructions.
And that leaves us with one last provocative thought to chew on. The general agreement is that these agents can already do a lot of the tasks we'd give to a junior developer. So as they take over more and more of the routine coding work, the role of the human programmer is just going to have to change. It's going to become less about writing every single line of code and more about directing and orchestrating these AI systems. So the real question isn't if AI will code, it's what are we going to build with it?